sitting in place of Kevin, who we fired from the show, is going to be Hambone.
Hello. I am Hambone. I am a barber and co-owner of Hard Way Barbershop in Blue Point, New York.
Yes.
You guys just opened up.
Just opened up a month ago.
Nice.
We're 5 days into our second month, and it's been pretty remarkable so far.
This is a store pick from a shop over in West Islip. This is Blue Note Juke Joint. It's out of Tennessee, but they are having it distilled in Bardstown. And
they're not distilling over there?
So I think they are starting to distill now. Okay. They have there's a couple. They have a bottle called the Crossroads.
Because they sourced for a while,
their
right?
older stuff is sourced. They have a 17-year
Dickel,
that's
right?
Dickel. Yep. But apparently it's supposed to be really good. This is coming in at 120. This is their uncut, unfiltered. I think this is a really good bottle. I got a little on my fingers, so a little trick I've been doing is like rub it in your hands a little bit.
What?
Yeah. And then like,
yeah,
if you get a little on your hand, like kind of like.
Smell it?
Yeah, it gets this like.
Mine smells like urine. Is that?
Oh,
I do that myself.
You didn't wash your hands.
Yeah.
Just piss all over yourself. So I busted out the Juke Joint because Hambone's a musician, so I figured.
There used to be a bar in Belmore called the Juke Joint.
Yeah.
I remember that place.
Recently, you went out on your own, started a new shop.
Yeah.
Challenge, right?
It presented challenges for sure. Yeah,
business, personal.
I didn't even think of, little. You overlook a lot. Theoretically, things seem simple, and then you start putting action or emotions into action, and then quitty prickly.
Quitty prickly.
It's my favorite saying.
Pretty quickly
in the American language.
Pretty quickly, you learn that.
Holy shit!
It's not just black and white. There's a whole lot of gray area shit.
Well, when things turn real, it's like, yeah. Now we have to actually.
Well, you have to process payroll.
Yeah, make payroll, pay taxes.
Your
quarterly taxes come out. Like it's
that's for
like,
you guys. Thankfully, for like,
you're not paying your taxes?
No.
Awesome.
That's what we're doing wrong.
We're not committing tax fraud. Damn it!
It's not tax fraud if you don't tell anybody.
My accountant thinks otherwise.
It's only fraud if you tell somebody.
I was unaware of this.
It's only fraud.
I'm gonna have to get on the call with our accountant later.
Yeah, no, it works a little bit differently with barbers. They're all
well, it's kind of independent.
You kind of work for yourself. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So they rent an area of the barbershop. Anyone who works there, you know. But that whole going out, it was about cultivating an environment where people want to be in and want to work and appreciate that sort of environment and just being in it and feeling inspired daily and
well, you get stagnant in your life and in work and all that fun stuff, so that is a huge leap of faith to do. And then now you're living like, all right, this is all mine. Like you can hang your hat on it and be like, you're proud of your daily, like what you're contributing to that.
I've been spending a lot of time there, kind of, even after hours, just kind of reflecting and appreciating and I realized recently that like the barbershop is kind of like my sanctuary, in a lot of ways. Even though like it's work, like I go there to work, I go there to perform my craft and my trade on other people, but it's like
doesn't feel like work.
No, when I'm in there, like there's local stress, like there's stress localized to the barbershop, but all the problems that are going on, they're kind of like secondary at that point, and
you're worrying about your problems that are happening in that shop in that moment.
Yeah.
I feel like the barbershop culture too. This is like one of those like tattoo shops, mechanic shop.
Yeah.
I came from the restaurant industry. Like our kitchen was like when you're in there, it's that mentality where like you're just like ripping on people.
The kitchen is a wild one.
The kitchen,
that's a fucking wild place.
That's a wild place.
I don't know. I don't think I'd make it there.
It's like all that camaraderie, and then shit goes out the window as soon as when it's time to buckle down. You're like, all right, let's go. We got to push through this. And then you're after the rush, everybody's just kind of calms down. You're having a drink, and everything kind of just lets loose. But that shop mentality. That's something I do. Like anytime you go to the shop,
you feel it.
I feel like I'm like, it's like when I go get tattooed now.
Yeah.
You're in that tattoo shop.
There's an energy.
There's an energy. Like people razzing on each other.
Certain smells.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
It smells.
The barber side smell.
It sounds too. I mean, between the buzzer, like tattoo. You know, it's like as soon as you hear that, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's exciting, right?
Except for when you get it tattooed and you're just
then it sucks.
Yeah. There's something about that buzzing near your head where you're like, there's something about the buzzer, the clippers, where you're like getting buzzed.
It's very similar.
You're just like, no, it's soothing.
No, see, I don't.
Whereas the tattoo machine,
I don't know. You can't go
sit
by me. I'm
on it
getting
and
my
like-
inner thigh done right now, and it's just savagery. And my guy Jason is just he's an animal.
Iron hammer.
Yeah, he is heavy-handed, old school. Just I'm like, holy, come on, guy.
Grip and rip.
Yeah.
It's a different world, the tattoos, but similar sounds, similar noises.
Similar noises. You get
it's that same concept of
crossfire between different stations.
But I think I understand what you're saying though. Like it's that you go into a barbershop in anywhere. It's a different world.
I can't help but like interject in conversation.
Of course.
You should. That's what it's about.
Supposed
Right.
To be.
But like,
talk shit.
For other people sitting in your car,
you're just sitting there and
The
like
best
there's
is when you
sometimes
have,
you're like
like
just
four customers go in and then you're talking about bands and mostly we're talking about bands in this shop.
There's times where like a client is talking to me and I'm not even hearing because I'm eavesdropping on something else that's going on because I want to be involved in that.
He's like, yeah, man, I just got divorced and wife left me.
No, that's not the one.
And you're like, what are we ordering for lunch?
Yeah, take back Sunday back in the early 90s, right?
They were still terrible live.
But I imagine that like you probably have a lot. Yeah, they were horrible live.
They were horrible live.
They're still horrible live now.
I think they got worse.
Yeah, probably worse.
Can't sing anymore.
Yeah, it's a little rough. I've seen some of those videos.
Shaky on his singing back then. But
no, we had a conversation about early.
Yeah.
I was like, they were even terrible back then.
They were bad.
But they had an energy just like,
The best is when we talk about like when we first started seeing them or booking them in our was Jennifer's Dream when Antonio was singing for them. That was like, nope, no good.
Bad.
Yeah, they made an improvement and not a huge improvement, but an improvement.
Yeah, so Adam can't sing, but he is a showman.
Yeah, he's for 100%.
And that's why they got big, in my opinion. Is the band itself was
first album
okay.
is just hands down the anthem of our.
I don't know what magic they did in the studio.
On Tell All Your Friends?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But
Jesus
that
Christ,
album is like still to this day.
That's like, I think that is the anthem of our generation.
I can
music.
remember the first time I listened to it. I didn't even have it. My sister had the CD. And I put it in my Discman because I had shunned them off. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I'm not listening to this crap. I'm too hardcore.
And I remember hitting play and I just listened to the whole thing, like just shut the fuck up and just sat there. Like, huh. Well, that was something.
Yeah.
And every show was just incredible.
Yeah.
It was a fun time.
Sing-alongs and it was just...
Yeah, they had an energy. And that's why they made it big and got huge because that energy translated to their live shows and them bringing in Adam, that was a huge move.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that took them to the next level.
Absolutely.
I assume it's probably very similar for you, though, with, I don't know about, it probably does happen, but anytime I go get tattooed, you wind up like trauma dumping on the tattoo artist. It's almost like people like get in this...
You're in therapy?
Yeah, they get in this really uncomfortable state of mind and they just kind of
I feel like that's like Barber, right? That's a Barber thing.
I've overshared with tattooers before, for sure.
Do people overshare with you as their barber?
All the time, right?
All the time, yeah.
You're like a therapist almost.
And I'm cool with it. I'm offered I'm cool to happy to offer
an outlet.
Lend an ear, and some maybe mediocre advice. But people do appreciate you for that,
Yeah.
Just to be able to come there and do that.
Yeah.
You know what it is? You have to listen because you're there.
Bullshit.
So
Jack, I don't have to
Yeah,
listen.
but they fake listen.
Either way.
Either way,
to the
it's
guy
still
in the
happening.
chair.
Someone's gonna hear it.
Somebody's hearing it.
Yeah, it's
I feel like that's a thing, right? Like people like definitely go to the barber and like just spill their guts.
Yeah, trauma dump.
Yeah.
It's like it's cheaper than therapy, right?
Yeah, you're going every 2 weeks or whatever.
Maybe not now.
Once a month.
But,
Well, that's something I do appreciate that aspect of it.
Yeah.
If it's someone that's been with me for a long time, been rocking with me and for years and years, and they have something they want to get off their chest, I want to talk about. Sure, I'm there for it. Like I'm all about it. And in that regard, I can give some pretty sound advice.
So I think sometimes people just need somebody to listen to them, and they'll work their way through it, and that's essentially therapy in a nutshell.
Yeah, basically,
that in and of itself is something for them. Yeah,
it's cathartic. It's therapeutic.
Important. Yeah, that connection you make with people is super important to me. That's one of the things that I love about it.
Yeah, the biggest part of like. That was the part that was missing from the chef side of it. I feel like
because you're so disconnected.
Bartender, it's a similar situation, right?
Yeah.
So
you're in a back room.
You're front facing. People are sitting at the bar. They're just like literally just dumping their problems on you, trauma dump, talking, and like. But in the back, you're like isolated.
Yeah.
So you have no idea what's going on. You're in your own little world.
You're in the trenches back there.
In your pocket. Yeah. Literally getting grenades thrown at you.
Right.
But like there was like times where you get to interact with people and they kind of just like they like unload on you, and that was always like the fun part, doing like live events and stuff or tasting menu stuff where you had people kind of interacting and talking to you. That's what I get here at Kings Coast. It's like, so here at Kings Coast it's very front facing. You can see everything that's going on. I'm always up front. It's like you get a lot of that.
You get those regulars.
You get those people they're like, dude, that new roast is incredible. Or like, hey, when are you gonna bring back the Nutella latte? Like, just like
you get feedback.
The other day, I'm making myself a pour over. We have some Kenya that came in that I'm roasting for a client, and I was like, I'm gonna try it out. But there was a regular who comes in. He always gets a pour over first thing in the morning, which is kind of a pain in the ass. But at the same time, I'm like, hey, you want to try something new? So he tried it, and we kind of had this kind of like tasting experience where we were talking about it, and but like that's that connection, talking to people. It's always
that's the best.
A cool thing. Definitely, people just go to therapy and stop trauma dumping on your barbers and tattoo artists.
I think that's what they're there for.
It's okay.
Yeah, we're not certified or anything.
We'll be there for you.
It's one of those things where it's like I feel like the barbershop, it's that camaraderie.
It's an escape, right? Like
you can talk about shit. It's like being in a bar. It's like being in a mechanic
Well,
shop.
like when you were saying you want to interject into whatever conversation is going on. I mean, that's literally why chairs were meant to be facing the room.
Right.
Everybody's supposed to be sort of interconnected, traditionally.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And that's like a traditional barbershop. The chairs were all facing one another. Everyone's conversating and interacting, and it was like a social thing.
Never thought of it like that.
Yeah, I never thought of that either.
It makes sense though.
Yeah, it's like a social. Like I know back in the day, like I don't know what the legalities of it, but like getting like a whiskey while you're sitting there,
for sure.
People are just like, I've been to shops.
Yeah, they have beer on tap and they give you a pour or something.
You can give it out. You can give it out. You can't sell it.
Right.
Of course.
If it's complimentary with a haircut, it's perfectly legal.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, there was a shop up in Syracuse that I was getting my hair cut at, and the guy, he had like a cigar lounge, a pool table, all in his shop, which was cool.
It's an easy place to go. I'm like, I'm going to get a haircut, and I'll be back in like an hour and a half.
Yeah, always had
4 hours later. You have a couple drinks, you play pool, you get your haircut, and then
play some bets.
Yeah. I like it.
Your $20 haircut turned into a $200 outing.
Yeah, but you might have won. Good odds.
It's definitely like the barbershop is definitely a social sort of atmosphere, right? Which is sometimes like I get out of work and people want to do things, I've already talked to 15 people today for an extended period of time, but like people like my girlfriend works remote, so she's like, sometimes I go,
so she's starving for human attention,
and I'm like, I'm on the other end of that shit. Like I could go home after work and not see another soul.
I'm the same way. I get home and I need to just like decompress. Especially here with all the shop noise, and like I get home sometimes and
ears are ringing.
But that's probably a tough experience.
It can be, but I mean, it's
because you've been literally sitting there talking all day,
right?
And then you get home,
sometimes
I'm
like, just over it.
Like, so how was your day? You're like, it's good. Just leave me alone. It's good. Just leave me alone. I want to eat my dinner, go to sleep. I mean, so I wanted to throw something in real quick. So you went out on your own. You started your own business. I feel like kind of similar path. I want to just kind of give you this. I messaged you when you were, when you were
thinking about it, right?
Starting out, and I said, when I left the job that I left. So I was a chef I worked for a restaurant group here on Long Island for over 12 years. And the day that I put in my resignation, and I said to my boss, I'm like, hey, I'm going out on my own. I'm doing my own thing. I'm not even starting a restaurant. I'm starting a coffee company. I'm like, I want to thank you for the time that you given me. I learned a lot here. And the conversation of just like, it went from like, okay, you're leaving, fuck you.
Yeah.
You're making the biggest mistake of your life. You're dead to me. Like all this shit.
Yeah.
Going out, taking that leap, you've done something that 99% of people will never do. It takes guts, it takes balls, it takes a tremendous leap of faith to go out and just start your own path. There's one thing working for somebody else and doing the job and like having somebody be your boss and you're like, all right, cool. I'm comfortable here making good money. But then like, all right, now it's my turn.
You have to be a little crazy.
A little bit.
You have to be like, okay, I could be on the street.
Just enough. Yeah.
But I'm willing to make this happen.
Yes. Part of the risk, right? That's the risk and reward.
The risk and reward. There, you get to a point that I feel like everybody has this in them, like where they get to a certain point where they're like, I'm very comfortable, but I'm not doing what I want to be doing. Yeah. I'm not happy. Yeah. Like, how do I make that leap? Where do I go from there? And I always tell people, I have a friend of mine who we were very, very close. We were kind of like on a similar trajectory, and I kept going with it, and he just gave up. And then still every couple months or weeks or years after, he would always be like, oh man, I should have stuck with it. I'm so jealous. You look, and then it turned into, must be nice.
Yeah, it's almost resentful, right?
Yeah, and I'm like, must be nice.
Like it was given to you.
Son of a bitch.
You motherfucker. Yeah. Like, I literally had to put everything on hold. Right. None of this shit was given to you. You have to freaking work your ass off. You're in the shop 24/7. When you're home, you're
stop.
Thinking about it 24/7.
Doesn't turn off.
You're still working.
Yeah. Like Jack, you have a photography business where that's like literally.
It's a mix of like I said, being a little bit crazy, but then there's that obsession that you have to almost have, but you can't find it. Like, it just comes to you.
No,
And it's so hard to turn off.
You can't materialize it. You can't fabricate it in any way. It's something that it's kind of like creativity in that sense. Like it flows through you. You know, it's
and when it's on, it's on. It's like you can't stop it. I can't turn it off.
And it's the hardest thing to explain to somebody who doesn't
get it. Yeah, for sure.
Well, there's so many people in this world that just every day it's the same monotonous, and that's I guess it's comfortable for them.
There's
to a point, right?
There's nothing wrong with that. Like
to get up every day and do the same thing, it's just like at some point break the cycle.
Yeah, some people are just happy with just like it's the status quo. I'm doing my thing. I feel like there's you said, there's a certain type of crazy.
Yeah.
Or it's that creative side of like
at any moment what you're doing could
need to break free.
I mean, but you could just be on the street in a month, right? Like
when we started King's Coast, I literally I was a chef. I was making over 6 figures.
Yeah.
Comfortably.
Good. Yeah.
About to have a wedding.
Yeah.
About to get married 6 months later, and I decided to quit my job. And I told my wife, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
You're going to, I don't know how you feel about this. And she was like, well, like everything we've done up to this point, like has just been like, let's do it. Let's see what happens. And it works.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, we always make something else happen.
I mean, I love your story. I think I've told you. It's like, and I've watched King's Coast for, I mean, I think I started cutting you guys like 2018, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's been a long
so I've kind of watched the growth, and I've
we started in 2017.
Every step of it. Yeah. So it was like 18, 19, I think.
Yeah, no, it was 18.
Yeah. So to watch you guys grow into this place, and it's been remarkable, and you reaching out to me, Wayne, and saying that, I was like, oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know how much I love that story, and it meant something.
I felt like, anytime I've said this to multiple people in the past, like I've had people work for me when I was a chef that were like, they were literally like, I'm like, dude, you're hitting your head on the ceiling here. There's no room for you to grow.
Yeah.
You need to go out and do your own thing.
We've done that here.
We've done that here.
With some employees that are like, this is not their thing. And they're like, they have other side hustles. Like,
go fly. Get out of here.
Dude, you got to do you.
Do you. Don't sit here and be miserable.
Waste time in King's Coast,
Exactly.
Shipping coffee
100%. when you're passionate something else.
That conversation I had with my boss was like, it literally turned into like he started to resent me for wanting to go out on my own.
Yeah.
And I literally in that moment I said to him, I go, dude, I'm gonna Michael, I'm gonna stop you right there. I was like, I don't want this conversation to go that way.
Right.
I was like, I'm here thanking you for the opportunity that was given. I'm going out. I'm doing my own thing. And that's how I want to leave.
And what was the best thing ever? Is when he saw our ad during the Islanders game.
Oh, the Islanders game.
It tells me as I'm leaving, like you're making a big mistake and you really let us down. And I was like, this is not how I want to end things here. I want to thank you for the opportunity, because the things that I learned, good or bad, you learn good things, you learn bad things from the people that you work with or work for. Right. I was like, the things that I learned, good or bad, have helped me get to the point where I'm able to take the leap of faith and go out on my own. And I want to thank you for that opportunity. And that's how I'm going to wrap it up. I will stay on to the end of the year, or as long as you decide to keep me here. And I said,
it lasted about a week, right?
It was that was on a Monday. I dropped the bomb. This was like 2 weeks before Christmas, and by Thursday they were like, "Okay, we're just going to let you go because." They didn't want. I was like, I'll stay on until you find a replacement. I was committed to. I
feel like basically by that next summer, maybe it was a little longer when we started airing on MSG.
It was a year and a half later.
A year and a half, yeah.
And then I get a text. He goes, I'm at the Islanders game. I see you up on the big screen. Congratulations. Looks like I was wrong. And I was like, thank you for that. At least you didn't have to admit that, and I'm happy that he did admit that. He's the same guy that when I left the restaurant I left to start a job at another restaurant up in upstate New York, he told me, he goes, just so you know, he goes, we have a lot of people that leave to go on and do other things. He goes, this is, the door's always open, when, if you ever come back, let me know, because I left on good terms, but then I came back. And that's how I got the job at H2O. I was literally I was back on Long Island. I was looking for work. I messaged him right at the right time. He was like, we're looking for a chef. You want the job? I was like, all right, cool. He's like, swing by. We'll start you tomorrow.
So what was it about? So that this is the same guy, right?
Yeah, I guess the second time you're not allowed to come back.
Well, he must have felt it might be final also.
I think he knew it was final. And I said, I was like, look, I could have very easily started my own restaurant, taking all of the people that work for me from that restaurant group and brought them over to work for me. But I started a coffee company. Like
we're not competing.
I was like, so I said, I'm like, we're not in competitive markets. I'm just doing my own thing. So whatever. All that to say, taking that leap, that takes a lot of fucking balls, and I commend you for it. So if you're watching this episode and you live on Long Island, make sure you go check out Hard Way Barbershop.
Blue Point, New York.
Blue Point, New York.
Yeah. Make it.
And make it a multi-pit stop. You can get your hair cut and you stop in for some hot chicken next door.
It's not far from here.
And it's
7 minutes away.
Yeah.
Picked up some Hot Chicken Mama.
Hot Chicken Mama, great place. And
great
Stevie,
place.
another guy who I talk to him about the kitchen shit all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how the fuck you guys do this stuff,
I don't know.
man.
I don't know.
That's a rough life there.
They had a little bit of an event going on today, and they were slammed. And I walked in and got a sandwich. I was just like, dude, I'll talk to you guys later, man.
See you later.
Yeah. So I brought my son to get a haircut today.
Yeah.
And I left and I'm like, all right, let's just swing by Hot Chicken Mama. We'll get some sandwiches. We'll bring them home. Like, they were slammed.
Slammed.
They were busy.
Yeah. But it's another, it's keeping it in the family over there.
That stuff that, all right. So like you were saying before, the monotonous sort of doing the same thing every day. Yeah. I knew early on that, the corporate world wasn't for me. That's not my place. And I felt so out of place for years, and I forced myself to do this shit. And I always felt like I had to hide my tattoos and who I was as a person, and just completely compromising everything about myself. And I hated it. So when I found barbering, that was like, okay, this is a spot where I can be exactly who
myself.
I am. I could be around friends. We could joke around, I bring my dog to work every day. Like, this is for me. This is it. Yeah. So that was, the first step in getting away from all that stuff. And then, 6 years later, now opening my own shop and it's been crazy, but it's something I've known I wanted to do for a long time. Yeah. And just like you guys, I have a partner, and he's Maddie. My partner Maddie's made it super easy for me to, just trust and just know that we're gonna be good. Well,
that's the biggest thing is like the only reason why I was able to take that leap was knowing that I had the people next to me that I could make that leap.
Yeah, that was super important. Yeah.
We were literally, we had the conversation. We started the company. It started to grow. It got to the point where it was like, we were doing this on like days off. I'm going over to Pete's house. We're packing orders in his living room. It was insanity for the first 2 months.
Yeah, it was not good.
And I said to like Pete and Kevin, my other partner, I was like, dude, we got to like, somebody needs to take this on full time. You guys both can't do it because at the time Kevin was living in Florida. Pete has his career, and I was like, you guys both can't do it. I really am the only one that is capable of kind of just throwing it away to take a risk on it, and I'm willing to put that risk in. Yeah, and so it's like it takes that psychopathic leap of faith to just go, all right, we're gonna do it.
Jack was talking about obsession before.
Yeah,
it is. It's kind of like an obsession, man. And it's like I don't know what it is. Like for me with barbering, like there's this obsession to just continuously get better and grow.
It's a craft.
If I thought Hard Way Barbershop was the end of the line for me, I'd be out tomorrow. You know? Like there's something more after that.
I call it shark ethic. So
is that what it is?
It's I don't know if I've coined this term. I've heard it before. It's called there's a Most Precious Blood song called Shark Ethic.
Yeah, okay.
That I've adapted this philosophy of shark ethic. Sharks have to constantly
like a constable.
So I call it shark. I'm going to cut this out so we can clip this for TikTok.
Ticket? Constables write tickets.
This Blue Noit's.
Blue Noit's legit.
This Blue Noit is fucking me up.
There's Blue Noit with the constables and the tickets.
The constables going to write your
and then there's sharks too.
Shark ethic.
The sharks and Port Jeff with the constables, and I got a ticket for not paying for the meter.
The Bay Constable will write you up for fishing for sharks.
God. On that note.
On
the Blue Note. 120 proof.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good bottle.
It's really good.
It's really good.
Pour yourself another little.
I don't want to anymore because I have to drive home.
You just drive fast.
No, that's not. Cut that out.
Speaking of flowing, I call it shark ethic.
I'm flowing on the floor right now.
You're flowing everywhere. Just flowing all over the place.
Shout out Dumb Bucket.
It's flowing out of me.
So sharks have to constantly be moving to survive. It's literally like if they stop swimming, the water won't rush past their gills and they will fucking die. So I call it shark ethic. It's, to me, I'm always constantly there's a quote, I got it from the movie Hero Dreams of Sushi. I don't know if you've ever watched it. It's on Netflix. Everybody needs to watch this fucking movie. If you're somebody who has a craft, a trade, a skill set, or even just to watch this man who is a 90-year-old Japanese sushi chef who has literally devoted his entire life to his craft. And the line from that movie that always stuck with me is that there's no such thing as perfection. It's the pursuit of perfection. You will never be perfect. But as long as you're on the path, constantly trying to become perfect and hone your craft, master your craft, perfect your craft, it's that shark ethic mentality where you got to constantly be moving, constantly be trying to, better and make your way and do your thing. So I call it shark ethic. And I think that's a little bit in all of us. It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
Makes sense.
You're not content with the status quo. You're not content to just say, all right, this is what it is. I'm just going to punch in 9 to 5 for the next 40 years, retire and call it a day and move down to Boca Raton and go to Cheesecake Factory.
Those sound nice right now.
I mean, Cheesecake Factory is awesome.
I like Cheesecake Factory.
Tommy Bahamas.
Love that.
Wear your Tommy Bahama shirts and go to Margaritaville.
Yeah. I mean,
some people
that is my life.
I want
to live in the Margaritaville.
It didn't sound so bad,
I want to live in the Margaritaville with the little electric cart.
I want a little cafe and fucking on the coast of the Amalfi Coast. I want to be in Croatia, a little cafe shop that the sign says we're open when we're here, and then you live your life just drinking wine and in the Adriatic Sea, and whatever. But yeah, this is something to it. It's the shark ethic. It's in all of us. It's that constant need to create, to perfect your craft, hone your craft, and that's one of the things that I feel like the culture is starting to reset towards skills and trades versus the corporate
as it should
time clock punch in every day.
Well, I think people realizing that their time and life is worth more than what they were getting.
Right.
right? Like you're just showing up to some office building 9 to 5 for the rest of your life. Like, and people are realizing like, fuck that. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I'm just like literally
wasting away my life for what?
Yeah, for what? Meanwhile, you could be out there, especially with the internet now, is like you can literally start your own podcast.
There's so many avenues.
There's so many avenues. Like you can literally just start posting TikToks and immediately gain some crazy traction. You could start your own e-commerce site. You could host courses if you wanted to, where you teach people how to cut hair. If you had all the time in the world and all this shit to do, or you just open up your own fucking shop and do your own thing and make your own way. And that's what I think.
I think that's
like the heart and soul. I don't know if it's just a New York specific thing.
It could be. I mean, I
don't think so.
Hustle culture is very, very glamorized here and romanticized.
And
it was. I think there's a hard.
You're right. I mean, a lot of industries.
I think COVID really opened a lot of people's eyes, being like, "What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing?"
I was trying to think of anything during COVID. Like, while we were home. At one point, I bought like all the different oils to make beard oil. I got like the little handshake bottles.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a science involved in that.
There is
a little bit. It's not just like, people think it's just mixing oils and
throw some essential oils and
there's
some
a little bit of science involved.
Yeah, I was like, this is crap.
Yeah. But there's like that's a thing though. Like you can do that.
I think people nowadays are realizing like your time is limited. So why am I just miserable every day to do what? To make some other guy more money or create do your own thing. Start your own business. I mean, you should certainly,
if there's something that you want to do that you're passionate about that you want to get out there and do, you should certainly go do that.
Absolutely.
Over making somebody else money.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, that's basically
ultimately
where I was at. I was hitting my head on the ceiling. I'm making some other guy a lot of money. I had no creative control. I suggested things that got shut down multiple times, and then turns out, you check in a couple of years later, and they're doing those things now, which is just hilarious to me.
You're a peacock. Yeah, gotta let you fly.
Thank you, Jack. I'm a peacock. Gotta let me fly.
On that note,
shark ethic peacocks. It's just
sure.
creative.
Blue Note, Cox,
Blue Note, Bay Constables,
writing tickets.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right about everybody sort of having that shark ethic in them. I think it's just focused differently for everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe you work your shitty 9-to-5 job at the office and you hate it, but then you go and kill it in the gym for 4 hours a day and you're bodybuilder, so I think it materializes in a different way depending on personality.
Yeah, you find different avenues to
or maybe you're a musician. You work your shitty job and then you play guitar and then you go and tour the country. Like how many people?
That's our whole life.
Exactly.
Growing up.
Yeah.
So I think it's just focused differently. I think it's very beautiful when you can, form a partnership and like you guys are both on the same page and synergistically you work well together, That's a very special thing. I mean,
I've been trying to get away from him for about 2 decades. It's not working.
No, I think you're stuck with him, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're in deep
But
now.
the amount of shit that we've tried to do in the past.
Oh, my God.
Like t-shirt companies, merch companies, record companies, bands, promotion, like all these shit that we kept trying to do that just fucking failed.
It's just a matter of seeing what sticks.
It's literally just keep trying. Like if the first 10 ideas don't work,
which literally they didn't.
They didn't.
But you guys thought it was going to be like? Did you ever think it would be
never
coffee?
thought it was going to be coffee.
It was never going to be coffee.
I never thought coffee would be the thing.
The one that stuck.
Was that like
that's the one that did it?
All the things.
What about coffee?
Hey, all right, let's try this thing. So, with that, I feel like we could just, now I'm like, well, if this works, we can do whatever we want next. It's
that's my little portion of this relationship is just keeping him grounded because he's out of control.
I've
heard this from Pete.
I'm the peacock. I gotta fly,
and I gotta just cut him out by the knees.
Hang on.
Yeah, stop it.
So Pete, I'm the wild spirit. Yep. Pete refines it, and then it works.
I think in me and Maddie's partnership, I'm the Wayne.
Makes sense.
We gotta fucking do this.
But that's what you need, though. You need
money.
Put up neon lights, and we're gonna do some shit. And like it's just you need to. It's the yin and yang, right? Yeah. So you got to have a little bit of the wild
100%,
style.
100%.
You need somebody who's the dreamer. You need somebody who's the more of like the logistic and like this is how we can actually do this. You crazy son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You know, it's there. You need a little bit of that, and that's some people might not have that with a business partner, but they might have that in their partnership with their spouse or in their daily life, a friend or a barber that can give them advice. Or,
I hope so.
That's
I think it's a good place to wrap it.
I think that's a perfect way to wrap it up. Yeah. It's we kind of come full circle.
This, it's legit.
I told you.
Yeah,
it's legit. If I had to score this on the nose, I'll give it a 30.
It's 120.
It's 120 bottle.
My math is not
also
good.
the proof, which might be influencing me. No, this is a really good pick.
Yeah, it's great.
Blue Note is really good stuff. If you see store pics of that.
Well, I was always wary of the Blue Note because I thought it was Dickel.
I thought it was Dickel too.
I don't like Dickel.
The old Blue Note, the 17 year is Dickel.
Yeah. Stay away from that.
But apparently
people like the funk. No, they like feet.
They were saying it's Dickel without the funk.
I don't believe that at all.
Kevin's gonna bring a bottle when he gets back.
Kevin is a liar, and which has been proved on the previous episodes.
So we'll see what happens with that. Hambone. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
Hard Way Barbershop, Blue Point, New York.
Come see us.
Make your own way. Do your own thing. Find your own way. Make your own luck. Hard Way Barbershop.
Is that their?
I think that's our slogan.
It should be, right?
I think that's it now.
It is now.
Perfect.
So
nailed it.
I'm the brand master. If you need to come up with some slogans or something.
Perfect.
You just did.
Yeah, it's that.
I forgot what you said.
So this
Write
episode
that
is brought to you by Hard Way Barbershop. Go over to, I don't know if you have a website or I got an Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah, we got Instagram.
We'll plug the
Facebook
socials in the comment section, and when this episode airs, it's probably gonna, just so you know, it's not gonna go on live tomorrow.
I figured that.
Yeah.
Jack's lazy.
And we have like 13 episodes backlog that we gotta.
Jack doesn't want to do
The
work.
whipping boy that gets paid only in bourbon.
That wild turkey episode is never going to
No,
air.
it's just gonna keep getting pushed back.
Which is kind of cool because then we could release it at a later
It's a
date.
totally different backdrop.
The unforgotten episode.
All right. We'll have to just redo it.
So, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next episode.